Okay, with basic algebra, we're just trying to simplify things. So we're going to be doing things like 5x cubed divided by 2x to the minus 2. And we'll explain each thing as we go along. But the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between, is this 4 being squared or not? 4x squared, is the square happening to the 4? No, it's only happening to the x. If we wanted it to happen to the 4, we'd put a bracket around it. Okay, so the square only affects the letter directly below it unless there's a bracket around it. So we can do this like this. This is 4x squared times 2x cubed. And we just do the numbers first. And then we do the letters. And to get the number up here, it's x squared plus x cubed. We just go 2 plus 3. Exponentials. Even though it's a multiply here, when you multiply exponentials, you just add numbers on the top. And I'll show you why quickly. This is x squared. This is x cubed. If you multiply them together, how many x's do you have? It equals x to the 5. See, x squared times x cubed equals x to the 5 because there's 5 x's. And visually, if you can remember that, that's very handy because then you won't forget. So that's 8x to the 5. Now what happens if you have brackets? You also square the number now. So this becomes 4 squared, which is 16. 16x squared times 2 cubed, which is 8. 8x cubed. So you see it's very different to the question before if you have the brackets around it. So 16 times 8, we do the numbers again first, is 128. And we still get x to the 5 because it's 2 plus 3. Now when you divide, sometimes, well, I don't like dividing. I find dividing very hard. So I like to change it into a multiply as often as I can. So if you want to change the divide, you just make it into an inverse fraction or whatever. You just put this on the bottom. I think of it, I put a 1 on top of this. Okay, and then I turn it into a multiply. That's much easier to do. Now we can cancel out the 6 over 2 becomes 3, and the a squared removes 2 on the bottom, so you get a squared on the bottom. So it becomes 3 on a squared. So quickly go over that. You can cancel out because it's a multiplier. There's a multipliers everywhere here. You can't cancel if it's an addition. So you can cancel if it's like this. That cancels. Okay? Actually, I should give you a better example. 2 times 2 on 2 equals 2. Because that number is 4 on 2. You see that? And that gives you 2. But if you try and do it the other way, 2 plus 2 on 2, and you try and cancel these, you get an answer of 2, which is still correct. So never mind that. Try this. 1 plus 1 on 1 equals 2. Now if we cancel these, when we're trying to add, we get 1. Okay? So it doesn't work. You can't cancel when it's addition. You can only cancel when it's multiplies. Okay, continuing on from here. So 5b squared. So we're going to do the same thing as before. Convert it to a fraction. Because then the minus goes on. Oh, there's a minus on the bottom still. Okay, so I put it on the bottom. Sometimes we make mistakes like that, but there's a minus in front of the 2. So I need to convert it back. And just like we saw up here, if we get y to the minus 3, it goes to the bottom. We can do it here again. It becomes a fraction, it goes to the bottom. That will equal 5b squared times 1 on 2 times 1 on b squared. Now that's very confusing because there's 2 fractions in 1. So easier way to do it is just to say if it's on the bottom, I'm going to turn it to the top. If it's on top, I'm going to make it go into the bottom. So instead we can write it like this. That's all we can do with the minus. Sorry, we put it on the top. That b to the minus 2, we're bringing up to the top b to the minus 2, and then we get rid of the minus, b squared. So now it becomes 5 on 2, b to the 4. Make sense? Hopefully it does. I'll try and be clear on this one. Since we have the brackets, we square everything inside the brackets, so that becomes a squared, b4. We cube everything on the bottom, a cubed, b cubed. And then we multiply by a, and remember anything to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, so that's important. B to the 0 is 1. Okay, now we just multiply the top through, and we get a cubed b to the 4 on a cubed b cubed. And nearly everything cancels because the a cubes cancel and the b cube cancel. And we're left with 1 up here, so it becomes b to the power of 1, or b. And finally this one, yeah, so I'll get to it. this divider we change into a multiplies. I'm not going to do too many steps at once because otherwise I'd make mistakes. 2 cubed is 8 because everything is cubed. M cubed, N cubed. Okay, now what do we equal? I'm just going to do the top first. Sometimes it's good to multiply everything through, or you can cancel things through, but sometimes it's easier if it doesn't look too hard just to do it like this. Because 2 plus 3 m's, 6 plus 3 n's into the 9. Okay, now we can start cancelling. The 8 and the 4 becomes 1 on 2. M and the m to the 5, you subtract it, becomes m to the 4. N to the 7's all cancel and leave this 9 with a 2. So we get 1 on 2 m to the 4 n squared. And that's quickly how to do these basic algebra with exponentials. And you can try the question set that I put at the end. Like there's 2 pages of exponential set, then there's 2 pages saying have a go. You can try those exponentials after this. And otherwise, we can go into equation solving.